how to lean bulk. And one mistake that I see all the time that I've made in the past, and it really held me back from making any significant progress, and I think it holds a lot of people back. So we're going to talk about how to lean bulk today. Does it bother you guys when people go, like my dad does that every time he has a drink or something, and it's kind of annoying. And he also does this little thing where he makes a ton of like old man noises earlier on in the day. So he'll be walking around, and I'm just like, Dad, you're not that old, get over it. But anyways, lean bulking. So over the past couple of years, I've been able to go to 153 pounds all the way up to like 187 pounds, and over that time I probably put on like 12 to 15 pounds of muscle. Now, I'm not sure if I would really say it was a lean bulk, and I'm not sure if a lean bulk is necessarily viable for everybody in every situation. I know you can't see me right now, but 1 second here. I think that there's some people that have a difficult time lean bulking. And these people got my lunch and post-workout meal here, but these people, in my experience and my observation, tend to be people who have been previously overweight, like myself. And I think that a potential reason for this is because when you go through adolescence, so in those nice puberty stages when hormones are getting all crazy and stuff, it seems as though it's possible to accumulate additional fat cells. And the problem with this is that if you accumulate additional fat cells, I feel like it might make it a little bit easier to regain some lost body fat. So I feel like when people have previously dieted down from an overweight state, it's going to be difficult for them to lean bulk. Now, does this mean these people can't lean bulk? No, I don't think that that's the case. I think that you can still gain at a moderate rate and still make progress. But I do think that these people might have to accept a little bit of fat gain, a little bit of fat regain before they can kind of start making progress again. For the first time this entire semester, I forgot a towel. So, we're gonna be a little grungy today. Don't worry, I still have deodorant. It's basically like a shower in a can. But I feel kind of nasty, not gonna lie. Anyways, it's like way later in the day now, but just wanted to say, I got home, took a shower, and it was like the best shower I ever had in my life because I was feeling like sticky all day. But yeah, that's all I want to say. Make sure to stay tuned because the mistake that I'm gonna talk about, it's a big mistake. It's important, so pay attention. All right. Have fun with the rest of the video. Another important thing to consider with your lean bulking, if it's possible, if it's something you should shoot for, is how you distribute body fat. Like some people distribute body fat more so in their torso, like myself. Some people distribute it more in their back, in their legs. Like some people, like Steve Hall comes to mind. He could probably be at pretty high body fat percentages in the upper teens and still see like his abs. Whereas me, there's been times where I haven't really even had abs, like just blurry outline of my abs. And I'll do, like just recently, I did a bod pod and a BIA and underwater weighing, all three of them. And on all three, I came out around 9.5 to 10.5%, in that range. So even if those were off by 3 or 4%, still pretty lean. But still, since I distribute my body fat the way I do, it's still not practical for me at this point to want to have abs year round and be super lean while I'm bulking. Now, if you're naturally lean, I'm like half sweaty and gross here, so this is kind of nasty. But for someone that is more naturally lean, I think that they are gonna just have a much better time staying lean during a gaining phase. And if you're more naturally lean, like you've been lean your whole life, then I just feel like these people are gonna be able to gain a lot better while staying lean and could potentially have like abs year round, like my boy Steve Hall. But I think that the practical implication of how do you actually lean bulk doesn't really change a whole lot for either person, except there's one catch here that I'll get to in a sec. But I would generally recommend, if you're wanting to stay pretty lean while bulking, it's probably a good idea to shoot for 1 to 2 pounds gained per month, slowly gain that for several months, and then throw in a mini cut every 6 to 8 months after you gain about 8 to 12 pounds. Then you can mini cut, and then you never really leave this like 10-pound range, and everything stays pretty good. Now, the big problem that I see often is transitioning between classes here. Beautiful day. Girls are showing a little more skin. I did just say that. But what is the biggest problem that a lot of people run into when they are kind of going through, or when they are thinking about doing a lean gaining phase? I think the biggest problem, biggest mistake that I've made in the past is they will cut prematurely before they ever get to a point to where they actually feel good, generally satiated. They start performing really well, all of that sort of things. They kind of prematurely cut before this point, and they perpetually stay in a range that is just a little bit too lean for them to really make good progress. And I know something that like Alberto Nunez has said before is a lot of the people that he's worked with, they never want to get to this point because it's usually a little bit uncomfortable for them. And I think that if you get to this point and you stay in a range that you make good progress, you won't necessarily look that much worse by pushing body weight above this point, and you can actually, I don't want to say recomp a little bit, but you might if you get to a point to where you're feeling good, you're performing well, and you're doing that sort of thing. So I think it is super important to get to a point to where you actually feel good, perform well. And for someone that has a similar history to me, you know, being overweight, or maybe you distribute your body fat not quite as favorably, this might mean you're not super comfortable with this point. But I think if you push through it, you can definitely make some really good progress. I've got all of my bags here to balance me out, but just finished that second session there. And just to reiterate on what you should do to lean bulk. So I think that a good approach is to gain 1 to 2 pounds a month for several months, gaining about 10 to 12 pounds, and then running a shorter cutting phase to where you take that fat off and you end up really not even looking like that noticeably different. Now, the key though is to making sure that you get to a point to where you actually perform well, you feel good, you're generally satiated, you don't have food focus. Get to that point first. Like, that's something that could be really difficult for you if you are someone that isn't naturally lean, or if you're someone that doesn't have the best body fat distribution like myself. And you know, this previous bulk, I probably put on 10 to 15 pounds of muscle. But when I went from 153 to like 165, I was ready to pull the plug on gaining. I really was. And now I can't even get back down to 165 without feeling those symptoms of being like below my settling range. Like, sorry that I was just blocking the camera with my hand there. I'm just, whatever. Anyways, now like I'm like 170, 172, and all those body fat tests we did, which could be off by certain percentages, had me around 10-ish%, which based on my chubby cheeks and where I hold my fat in my stomach, it sure doesn't look like that. But my arms are freaking lean, my forearms are freaking lean. Everything else is pretty dang lean. So that's just the way I distribute body fat, which can, if you're in a similar boat, it can make it difficult to get past that point. But man, I think especially when you're relatively earlier intermediate, if you can push past that point a few times, a few gaining phases, the more muscle you build, the better these body fats are gonna look, and the better this weight range is gonna look over time. So by gaining pretty slowly over the course of 7 or 8 months, over time, and fluctuating down in that 10 to 15 pound range where no one could really tell a huge difference, man, over time, over the course of a couple years, that range is starting to look better and better and better. You're going to be able to keep pushing up higher and higher and higher, and that body fat range is going to look really, really good. So I don't think that necessarily everybody's going to get to a point to where they're going to be able to stay super lean on a bulk, but I still think that you can maintain a pretty solid weight range, and after some time of building some muscle and kind of cyclically going back and forth on that, you're going to be really happy with how you look. So don't let this discourage you from trying to lean bulk or anything like that, but just make sure that you're at least getting to that bottom end of your settling range before you're pulling the trigger on a bunch of cuts, and really try to maximize your time spent actually gaining, building, growing. Trust me, it will pay off. It was tough for me too, but it paid off. So that's all I got for this one. If you are interested in coaching from this guy right here and need some guidance going through this phase, I'd be more than happy to help you out. I don't want this to come off as salesy or anything like that, so I just want you to know that I really do appreciate you watching this video. I don't take it lightly, and if you want to see a video on when to stop bulking or benefits of getting heavier, check out this Q&A. You can check out the timestamp, but other than that, I will see you in that next one. And let me know if you like these vlogs or what you like. All right, see ya.